how procrastination can show up for each of us because it does always look a little bit different for every single person, right? So if you're one of those love bugs that just sits and spins on ideas, decisions, reworking your work, consistently editing and editing and editing and staying up late at night because you're doing more editing, this might be for you. Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freaking freedom in a life unperfected. Welcome back, Mama. I am so glad and grateful you're here. Before we get into today's content, I wanted to share with you a little freebie that I have. And because I love to keep it real, I love to keep it 100, I'm going to tell you the behind the scenes. So I had originally created a freebie called Ignite Your Inner Chill, which is really an anxiety relief toolkit. And what I realized, because I think I only got 6 people who took advantage of that opportunity, is that I was being a little too cutesy footsy with the name. So I have renamed the very same freebie Your Immediate Calm Down Kit. Okay, so for those of you that are in business and wanting to market your business, there's a little lesson and a little learning here that maybe you can collect from me, which is when you're naming something, you want it to be really straightforward, really obvious, very easy to understand. Like people have a 1-second attention span. So when you name something cute, Ignite Your Inner Chill, first of all, people are like, what does that actually mean? They don't hear the word ignite all the time. Does inner chill, what does it do? And they don't really have the energy and attention span to put that much work into it. So I've already lost them. So your immediate calm down kit. How straightforward is that? How obvious is that? Let's see how this one does. So this freebie is basically a step-by-step guide to help you immediately calm down. So number 1, it's going to help you build anxiety awareness because what we are unaware of, we cannot change. So when are you getting triggered? When are you getting distressed? When are you rising in your stress response? When are you not feeling freaking calm and what's going on? Once we build awareness around that, we know when and where we need a coping skill, right? The second thing that's in the kit is how to regulate your nervous system. The third thing is my favorite therapeutic technique to help you reframe your thoughts. This is a technique that I literally use in my practice and in my coaching business and on myself every single day, multiple times a day. And then lastly, I teach you about closing and completing your stress cycle. So there is a difference between stressors and your physiological stress response. And the most important thing that we can do to immediately calm down is to complete our stress cycle, to discharge the stress that's in the body. So if you're needing another tool in your toolkit to regulate, to manage your anxiety, to calm the frick down, then this freebie is for you and it will be linked in the show notes. And let's see how this one does. I'll keep you guys posted. But when you're marketing, the lesson here is keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it simple so people know what they're getting, because the whole goal of this is to give people the resource, as many people as I can, so it can help them. And then they're in my email list so I can continue to bring them into my world and give them more and more and pour into them and nurture them. So take advantage of that freebie, share it with other mamas who are also feeling like they could use a little help calming the frick down. Okay, so that's for you. What are we talking about today? We are talking about procrastination. We are talking about why we procrastinate. So, y'all know that I am a perfectionist in recovery. I work with those high achieving, ease seeking mom bosses who are also type A perfectionistic. We like things just right. We've been going hard our whole lives. We're driven, but we're really hard on ourselves on the inside. That's something that is so common for all of us perfectionists is on the outside it looks like we have it all together, right? We've got the job, we've got the kids, we've got the car, we've got the 401k, we've got the vacations. We show up for things, we look like we're doing it all, and we look like we're loving it. But a lot of the times, we are secretly suffering in silence because the pressure to do it all and to do it all perfectly has become too much. So, what my pressure looked like was over drinking, overeating, and overspending. That was my trifecta, my way of coping with such intense pressure that I put on myself in keeping up, in being the perfect leader, wife, mom, boss, all the things. And I really had to get off the hamster wheel altogether and just jump right out of the paradigm of perfectionism to begin to heal, to begin to calm down, to begin to regulate my nervous system. And from that place, I was able to start to take what I call aligned action. What is aligned action? Aligned action is action that you're consciously choosing that is in alignment with your values, with what it is that you so desire, with your strengths, your gifts, your gems, your soul's essence. It's you're doing the things because they light you up and because you want to. You're no longer just doing and reacting because everybody in the world told you that's important. So, one of the key characteristics that I found inside myself and I see every day with my clients is this procrastination. And so, before we dig into why, let's look at how procrastination can show up for each of us because it does always look a little bit different for every single person, right? So if you're one of those love bugs that just sits and spins on ideas, decisions, reworking your work, consistently editing and editing and editing and staying up late at night because you're doing more editing, this might be for you. If you have a brilliant idea and you're just not putting it out into the world until you have another certification, a perfect website, the perfect offer, the perfect way to present it to your leadership board or team. This also is for you. If you're afraid to use your voice, to speak up in the meeting, to bring your idea forward, to make a request, to set a boundary, and you're dragging your feet, if you're afraid to show up on social media, honey, this one's for you. So procrastination looks like it's a prevention of showing up. It's a prevention of using our voice. It's a distraction from bringing our gifts forward. It has us playing small. And it also has us wasting a shit ton of time, energy, and sanity redoing, reworking, analyzing, over perfecting anything before we get it out into the world. I cannot tell you how many gifted and talented and incredible women I work with that I'm like, why haven't you launched this idea? Why aren't you showing up on Instagram? Why aren't you, kickstarting a challenge? Why aren't you asking for that promotion? And they're like, waiting. I need another certification. I need to rework it. I need to make sure I'm really ready. I need to no, ma'am. All right. So those are some of the ways that you're procrastinating. Another kind of sneaky one. I love a good to do list. I love a good checklist. Most of us perfectionists, honey, we love a good checklist. We have checklists for days. We have 16 different folders with 16 different checklists. I got a checklist for home. I got a checklist for work. I got a checklist for clients. I got a checklist for that client and that client. I got a checklist for my personal development. I got a checklist for my mastermind, the mastermind I'm a part of. Listen, honey, holy. That also might be like, tell me you're a perfectionist without telling me you're a perfectionist. You have 5+ checklists. Anyways, when you start your new week checklist, right? So, like, I usually on Sunday will do my checklist for the week to come. Those things that continuously jump from week to week because you didn't get them done, you're like, this shit has been on my checklist since 1987. Get curious about that. Why are we not getting that done? There might be some procrastination there. It also might be you just are not the right person to be doing it. You need to outsource it, you need to delegate it, or you just need to let that shit go. That's another way I like to look at procrastination is what are the things that I set an original intention that I wanted to get it done and it just keeps not getting done and making it onto the next to-do list? What's really up here? All right. So those are some of the ways in which procrastination might be showing up for you. And there's also a million other ways that it might be showing up for you as well. Why do we do this, honey? Honey, there is a really good, deep, psychological, energetic, nervous system reason why we procrastinate. And I promise you, it's not because we're lazy pieces of you know what. It's not because we're not good with our time. In fact, working moms are the freaking best with managing their time. They're the freaking best at prioritizing what's important. They're the freaking best at multitasking. I'm not saying it's good for our mental health. I'm just saying we are the best at it. So it's not that you're not doing a good job. It's not that you're not using your time wisely. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're unproductive. Okay. So stop telling yourself those things because that's going to further sink you into procrastination. Okay. So, anytime, and I want you guys to really come in and zone in on this one. This is a deep one. This one's important, my love. This little tidbit could really help you once you can actually digest it and let it in. Anytime we're overthinking, it's because we're underfeeling. So when we're sitting and spinning on the hamster wheel, reworking, re-editing, redoing, perfecting, overanalyzing, overdoing, it's because we are under feeling. So we are overworking, we are overthinking, which is your procrastination, because we are under feeling. So we got to get out of the head and into the body because our feelings are just sensations that are in the body. And you might be going, ooh, hail to the no, baby. I have worked my whole life and built all sorts of armor and built all sorts of crummy coping skills to not feel in my body. Thank you very much. Here's why we got to feel in our body, babes. 95% of your operating system is your subconscious mind, your energy, and all that shit is in your body. So if you are trying to be a perfectionist utilizing the 5%, which is your cognitive fuel, no wonder things are so hard. What would your life, your leadership, and your business look like when you were utilizing all 100% of your operating system? And here's the thing about feelings. You can't just close off to the ones that are uncomfortable and unpleasant. So if you're closing off to anxiety, if you're closing off to grief, if you're closing off to sadness, if you're closing off to fear, you are also closing off to excitement and joy and pleasure and peace and ease. Your bodies hold the score. Your body has the wisdom. Your body has your intuition. Your body is the subconscious mind. And so when we're overthinking, we're sitting and spinning in that 5% and we just can't get there. And it's a lot of freaking work to do big things on a 4-cylinder motor, right? But if you are like me and you have big dreams and big goals and you want to make an impact on your family and on your community and in your classroom and on your team and in your industry, babe, we need all the tools we can get. We need all 100% of that operating system. But so many of us have shut off from our bodies at a very young age because the second that we started going through puberty and we understood self-consciousness and we looked around and we compared our bodies and everything said that we were supposed to have a perfect body, we started a war with our body. And so we started cutting off connection to. And so this is your invitation to begin to heal that connection to your body, to begin to declutter the gutter between head and body. Because if we're overthinking, we're underfeeling. And so why do we procrastinate? Because we're afraid. Because we are deeply afraid. And there's fear there. There's fear of rejection. There's fear of not being enough. There's fear of making a mistake. There's fear of getting it wrong. There's fear of being found out. Take a breath with me. It's fear. We procrastinate. We don't put that thing out there because we're afraid that it's not enough. And it's going to further perpetuate our deepest fear, which is that we are not enough, that we are wrong, that we are bad, that we are not smart, that we are not gifted, that we're not that special, right? And so I'm going to give you five. How many questions do I have? I'm going to give you five questions to ask yourself, journal prompts, if you will, to help you get unstuck, to help you get out of procrastination and into action, and to do it in this way of really uprooting what's fueling the procrastination. Just saying you're going to do it isn't as powerful. It's like going on a diet, right? And saying, I'm going to eat healthy. Just saying I'm going to eat healthy, while it's a powerful affirmation and there is a ripple of that energetically, you really got to look at, well, what does my subconscious believe is possible? What is my subconscious telling me? If it's telling me that I don't deserve to be in a body that I love, or that it's not possible, or that it's going to be hard, or what's it all for, or that we're not deserving of that nourishment, we are going to sabotage. Procrastination is also a form of self sabotage. Okay. But it's all rooted in fear and anxiety. Procrastination is all rooted in fear and anxiety. Can we see that with a little love and compassion? So it's not that we're lazy. It's not that we're unproductive. It's not what is wrong with me that I can't get this done. It's who there's a part of me that's really afraid to put this into motion and complete something. So here's five questions that you can journal to begin to do this work. So let's walk it through an example. Let's say you are launching a new business and you are creating a new offer and you need to get online and sell your damn offer, but you're hesitating. You're hesitating from showing up. I want you to ask yourself, what am I telling myself about this? So I'm telling myself that I need to look good online. I need to be consistent online. I need to have the right smart things to say online. I need some more training on how to leverage all the functions of it online. I need it to be aesthetically pleasing. What if my aunt sees it? What if my mom sees it? How are they going to feel? What if this totally flops? What if I put myself out there and it fucking flops? What are you telling yourself? Okay, you're not asking for the promotion. What are you telling yourself about that? You're not starting the podcast. What are you telling yourself about that? You're not hitting publish on your new website. You're not hitting publish on your blog. What are you telling yourself, my love, about that? And what are you telling yourself about that underneath that, right? And keep peeling back the layers. And you may have already answered this question, but if not, let's get more directly to it. Number two is, what am I afraid will happen? What am I afraid will happen? I'm afraid that I'm going to flop. I'm afraid that people aren't going to like me. I'm afraid that I'm going to offend someone in my family. I'm afraid that if everyone sees me take this risk and my family already doesn't think it's worth the investment, and if it fails, then it's just going to be validation to their, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to use the word feedback, but that objection, that's the word I was looking for, right? What is it that you're afraid of? Sometimes just naming it and facing the fear and writing it down on paper disarms it. It puts distance between the fear and your reality. But when it's just sneakily floating around in your midbrain and your subconscious, it wreaks havoc. Number three, when I am pausing, hesitating, procrastinating, what feelings might I be avoiding? Oh, is it fear? Is it shame? Is it embarrassment? By sitting and spinning and reworking and redoing and overworking and overachieving, what feeling might I be avoiding? Remember when I said overthinking is because we're underfeeling. So anytime you're in a thought loop or a thought cycle and you're just like thinking and doing, pause, take a huge belly breath or 10. What might I be avoiding? When I used to busy myself beyond belief when I was running Target stores and trying to pretend like I was this like Susie homemaker, stay at home mom while working 10 to 12-hour days in a high pressure job. And then at night I would drink and eat and shop. Yeah, I was avoiding feeling, guys. I was avoiding feeling the shame from trauma. I was avoiding feeling the shame of all the mistakes my younger versions of myself had made, the embarrassment I've made of myself, right? So when we're overthinking and overdoing and overworking, what might you be avoiding feeling? You do a little body scan and you just notice what sensations are coming up in the body, and you don't tell yourself a story about it. You just notice the sensations in the body and sit with them and breathe and release. You sit you breathe, you release. Release looks like journaling, crying, talking, walking, stretching, dancing, twerking, whatever. How do you feel your feelings? You pay attention to what the F is happening in your body and you breathe through it. And you say, I notice some sensation in my heart. I notice some nauseousness in my belly. I notice some grief in my chest. I notice some fear in my shoulders, right? You notice it, you name it, you breathe through it, and then you can shake it out, walk it, journal, cry, move it out of your body. That's how we process emotion, babe. But it's not a one and done. It's a practice. It's a daily thing that you continue to come to. Number 4, whose expectations am I living up to? I'm not putting my idea out there because I'm afraid of what my dad will think about it, or I'm not launching this business because it's not what my grandmother told me to do, or I'm not starting a business because society tells me I should stay home and raise my children. Whatever it is, like whose expectations are you living up to? That's going to guide you toward a feeling and a belief that you have. Like, I'm supposed to do this and this. Pull that belief up and give it an upgrade, right? I've done several podcasts where I talk about reprogramming your subconscious core beliefs. Go back through my vault and listen to the podcast that talks about reprogramming beliefs. Anything around beliefs, if you are still operating in somebody else's expectations, you got to work on your beliefs, my love. Okay. And last but not least, what is this stuckness costing me? So by sitting and spinning and overworking and editing and procrastinating, what is it costing me? I can tell you right now, it's costing you time. You are wasting time. Done is good. Progress over perfection. Get the shit out. Okay. Everybody, by the way, everybody started somewhere, right? I get those Facebook notifications that remind me of 7 years ago, the first Facebook Live I did. Holy cringe, right? Down to my hair, color and cut. But everybody started somewhere. The first podcast is not going to be as strong as the 60th podcast. The first Instagram Live is not going to be as strong as the 100th, but you'll never get to the 100th if you don't start, baby. And do you know how much respect people have for people that are putting themselves out there and just starting? The business that I have today, I didn't have when I first started. Like, I remember when I was really trying for my first like 5K month and then 10K month and then 20K month, right? I remember each stage. But you got to start somewhere, and people respect people being vulnerable enough to start. So, what is it costing you to not start? What is it costing you to not put yourself out there? What is it costing you to not show up? What is it costing you to not advocate? What is it costing you? Time, energy, sanity, your dreams. Stop it. Absolutely not. Are we not going to do our soul's mission? Are we not going to live in our purpose because we're afraid of what other people think? That's not the money move anymore, babe. You're incredible. You have gifts. Share them with the world in whatever format, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your classroom, whether it's on your team, whether it's in your business. Baby, you already have what it takes to show up. And when that fear comes bubbling up, of, oh my God, what are they going to think? What if it's not good enough? What if I'm rejected? What if this fails? What if I made a mistake? What if I made a bad investment? You just go, and so it is. It's part of my journey. When you study the most successful people in the world, all they've done is failed forward over and over again and never given up. That's it. They didn't have it figured out. They weren't the best looking in the room. They weren't the smartest in the room. They just were resilient in their failing forward, and they kept going and going until it stuck and it took off. So, my love, there's very good reason why you procrastinate, and it's because you have real fears about putting yourself out there. That's so normal. That's what it is to be human. Let's normalize that. And then let's get with the feelings so that we can get out of stuckness into motion. All right. So, just to summarize, procrastination shows up differently for all of us, but it's really preventing us from completing something, from putting ourselves out there in the world, from showing up. And it's coming with a really big cost, right? But there's deep reasons that we do it. And it's because it's all rooted in fear based on the stories we tell ourselves of not being good enough, not being enough. And so I gave you 5 questions that you can ask to go from procrastination into action. So if you're driving, go home tonight, journal those prompts. And if you have time right now, pause, journal those prompts. And then I want you to write on a sticky note, progress over perfection. I want you to make that a mantra. I want you to tell yourself that 3 times in the morning, 3 times at lunch, 3 times at night. Progress over perfection. I am enough. Progress over perfection. It is enough. And I want you to put it on a sticky note and I want you to put it somewhere that you will see it every single day. So you can begin to operate from an energetic and a belief system that says progress over perfection, baby, over and over until you hit that next level of success. I love you so much, Mama. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Take care of yourselves and there for each other. Bye for now. Hey, Mama, if you made it to the end of this episode, I just want to virtually high five you because you've said yes to the opportunity of taking better care of yourself. And that is so meaningful and so amazing. You have no idea the ripple of goodness that's to come. If you've been enjoying the show, if you've been finding it helpful, if you've laughed a little or learned a new technique, will you do me a favor? Will you make sure that you're following the show, that you've given us a 5-star rating and left a review? That will absolutely help us get this podcast into more heads and hearts of as many mamas as possible. Because when we heal the mother, we heal the world. Also, if there's a specific episode that you've loved, will you make sure to share it with a friend? Just send them the link or share it on social media and make sure you tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected because I absolutely love seeing that this is actually giving you the impact that you so desire and deserve. Thank you so much, mamas. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and therefore each other.